We took this issue to the Constitutional Court for its attention, but to add insult to injury, the Constitutional Court missed the whole point and failed to address the key issue of illegal declaration of results. Instead, the Constitutional Court concerned itself with the evidence of irregularities. But that was not the issue we brought to them. That issue belongs to the Electoral Court. It is irrelevant whether our objections were valid or invalid. The issue is that the IEC was not entitled to brush us aside and to proceed without rushing the declaration of those results before looking into the allegations made on behalf of millions of South Africans, the voters. The court failed to address this matter. We also complained that the boycott would result in a National Assembly not reaching the minimum number of 350 members, as referred to in the Constitution. That issue was also not addressed. Surprisingly, the Constitutional Court said the matter was not urgent and the court did not have jurisdiction. That means we should have gone to another court, even though the first sitting of Parliament was only a few days away. It simply does not make sense at all to deal with such serious issues by resorting to pure technicalities. That is the same court which was prepared to give urgent and direct access to Judge Zondo to bypass the criminal courts and to sentence me to go to prison without a trial. Now the same court is not prepared to give direct access to test whether the IEC acted wrongly in rushing the declaration of those election results and possibly having an illegal government for the next 5 years. That can never be called justice. Justice for Zuma should be the same justice as justice for all. It is also not good enough to be called a democracy. It can only be called a dictatorship of the ruling party and its institutions. In recent times, the highest courts of Zimbabwe, Kenya, Malawi, and even the USA have listened to election challenges because they respect democracy and fairness. They did not use escape routes or technicalities such as urgency or jurisdiction. To do so is a disgrace and a violation of human rights. So much for the so-called best institution in the world. Best constitution in the world. It cannot be the best if it has eyes to choose who does not deserve justice. Such a legal system must be changed as soon as possible. It may be suitable to Roman and Dutch people, but for us as Africans, but not for us as Africans. We must do away with Roman Dutch law. We shall not be discouraged, but will continue to fight on. We have instructed our legal team to take any steps possible, both inside of South Africa and internationally, to ensure that justice is done. We cannot allow a situation where millions of votes have been stolen. The legal team will report on the possible avenues which are available. We are always expected. Why are we always expected? Why are we always expected? to accept what is clearly unacceptable. We say, enough is enough. In the end, justice will prevail. We have already waited for almost 400 years for our freedom, and we are almost there. We call on our people to demand to know what happened to their votes. They have the right to know. We will therefore, at the right time, call on our people to demonstrate their dissatisfaction against all these injustices peacefully, in the streets, in the courts, and even in Parliament until our grievances have been addressed. We have now launched a new electoral court challenge and given that court the evidence we have collected. We shall also participate in the case lodged by the ATM in the electoral court. We shall leave no stone unturned. Regarding the current political situation, we need to educate our people that there is no government. We need to educate our people that there is no government of national unity in South Africa. There is a white-led unholy alliance between the DA and the ANC of Ramaphosa. It is sponsored by big business. It is for the benefit of the markets and not the people. It must be crushed before it finds its feet. The media is also selling the story of a government of national unity when they know that there is no such thing. I know because I was part of the leadership which introduced a GNU in 1994. We have asked our lawyers to write a letter of demand to the SABC to stop deliberately misleading South Africans by using terms like government of national unity or government of provincial unity to refer to present sellout coalitions. This is nothing but a return of apartheid and colonialism. We know that the private media has to serve its masters, but the SABC belongs to us. It has no right to feed our people with lies and to pursue narrow agendas at our expense. We shall seek an urgent meeting with the SABC board and management to raise this issue and, if necessary, educate them on the correct political terms which are appropriate. If they do not listen to the people, then the people will march to SABC to demand the truth. If there is a government of national unity, why is its founding documents only signed by Mbalula and Helen Zille? Let it be clear to all our people that at 40%, the ANC of Ramaphosa had a choice to listen to the people and team up with those fighting for the total liberation of our people and the return of the land, or team up with those who stand for racism, white supremacy, backwardness, land theft, Zionism, and other ends. They chose to go to bed with the racists. By doing so, the ANC of Ramaphosa has defined itself outside progressive forces of change. It has defined itself against the majority of the oppressed. The ANC of Ramaphosa must be treated as part of the problem and no longer as part of the solution. However, the door is always open for the real ANC to be welcomed back in the progressive fold. I think I need to repeat this, so it's clear. I state, by doing so, the ANC of Ramaphosa has defined itself outside of the progressive forces of change. It has also defined itself against the majority of the oppressed. The ANC of Ramaphosa must be treated as part of the problem and no longer part of the solution. We also want to dispel the DA-ANC propaganda that the MK party is part of those that are against the Constitution. In everything we do, we follow the Constitution. However, we believe that the Constitution must be amended to allow for the return of land and to give a much bigger role to Parliament, which is made up of democratically elected representatives of the people rather than unelected judges. Section 44 of the Constitution gives the National Assembly unlimited power to amend the Constitution. Parliamentary sovereignty, which is practiced in the many democratic countries, is a normal prevalent form of government. I promise to address the nation soon after meeting the leaders of the progressive forces, when we shall deliver a detailed battle plan for the next few months or years until we finally win back our country from the enemies of progress and economic. Let me start and repeat that because it's very important. It says and states, I promise to address the nation soon after the meeting with the leaders of the progressive forces when we shall deliver a detailed battle plan for the next few months or years until we finally win back our country from the enemies of progress and economic freedom with the new apartheid regime of Steenhuisen and all his black sellout puppets led by Cyril Ramaphosa. Unity in action is the simple clarion call. We can no longer afford to be divided when the enemy is uniting against the people. For that reason, we wish to announce that after taking legal advice, Umkhonto weSizwe will soon occupy its seat in the National Assembly. We shall continue to raise the issue of the rigged elections even inside the House, while at the same time we shall intensify the court actions and other constitutional methods outside. The protest will continue in other forms. There are many battles ahead, including a total overhaul of the currently biased voting system itself and the biased IEC. Together with the Progressive Caucus and the people, we must fight the sellout deal of the DA and their puppet Ramaphosa by any means necessary and within the law. There is no time to rest. Those of us, in the form of President Zuma, who are still members of the ANC, will continue in any space until order, comrades. Those of us who are still members, and I say those of us, meaning President Zuma, who are still members of the ANC will continue to use any space still available inside the ANC to expose the agents of white monopoly capital who want to take our country back to apartheid. They will be defeated. But if they push us outside, we must find other political homes to continue the struggle for liberation. As founders of Umkhonto weSizwe said on 16 December 1961, there comes a time in the life of any nation where there remains only two choices: to either submit or fight. I need to repeat that. There comes a time in the life of any nation where there remains only two choices. You either submit or you fight. That time has now come to South Africa, and that time is now. We shall not submit, and we have no choice but to hit back by all means within our power in defense of our future and our freedom.